In between the beloved POIs of the OG map were some lesser known, some even forgotten areas that deserve the same recognition as the most iconic of POIs. So here's 8 odd locations in the OG map that hold a special place in many of our hearts, but unfortunately, most of these places are forgotten. The big chair house was kind of hidden. It was sandwiched between some of Fortnite's most iconic locations, like Flush Factory, Greasy Grove, Shifty Chefs, and the Orange Bridge. Its most notable feature is the giant wooden chair, but correct me if I'm wrong, this little house isn't a reused asset from anywhere else in Fortnite Battle Royale. It's completely unique to this little POI. The giant wooden chair is super beloved, and it's easily one of OG Fortnite's most recognizable landmarks. And to add to the charm of this POI, the chair turned into a sleigh for Christmas, a rocket ship for Season 9, and it even returned in 2022 during the Vibin season to remind veterans that they were still playing the same game. Mini Tilted is what my squad called this little cluster of homes. I know a lot of people called this place Mini Mexico, but to me it's always been Mini Tilted. The loot here was famous for being abundant, and this is a perfect duo landing spot. I love this place and the surrounding area so much that it was the first place I landed in during Season OG. The small and close together houses made for some super fun and memorable fights. Mini Tilted will always be missed and remembered as the most underrated drop in all of Fortnite. Down the road from Mini Tilted was what if you're new to the game you would perceive as just a gravestone and a stack of tires, but if you're an OG, you know what this little monument represents. This is where Muzelk failed to save Chappadoodle. The stack of tires represents the failure of the ingenious plan, and the gravestone represents, well, Chappadoodle's passing. This was always a little place I'd go out of my way to pay a visit, plus there was a rift here. It was also revolutionary from Epic to pay tribute to a funny clip by adding this. Stuff like that was unheard of, and it proved that Epic had a listening ear for the community, making this little cliff a nostalgic and iconic piece of Fortnite's history. Shopping Cart Mountain. This was a thin and narrow peak with a circle of autumn trees at the top and ramps all the way down the mountain. There was also multiple guaranteed shopping cart spawns, hence the name Shopping Cart Mountain. I remember landing here a lot in Season 4 when shopping carts were first added. There was always a little scrimmage for the shopping carts, and only 1 or 2 people would survive to ride down the mountain. The animal builds. These were random structures, resembling various animals built in the outskirts of the map to fill it up in some of the empty areas. They always gave off this eerie feeling. I always wondered who built these massive structures, and exploring the inside was haunting. They were empty, aside from a few chests. They felt like hollow forests that players from a long time ago built and then abandoned. These animals were always being swapped out for new ones, which I think added to their mysterious feel. Nowadays, the only one of these I feel like people actually remember is the Metal Llama, because it was the only one that stayed consistent throughout the entire chapter. These structures will always be symbols of the simple charm of OG Fortnite. They are mysterious, intriguing, and charming. The Editable House. I must admit, I haven't been to the Editable House very often because of how isolated it is from the rest of the map, but whenever I found myself there, it always brings a smile to my face. Editing, exploring, and customizing the addition to the house felt like playing in one of those indoor playground things. I remember in my last game of Season OG, we dropped in Risky Reels and we wanted to see the Editable House because we haven't seen it all season, so we drove into Storm on an ATK just to see it, and we won that game. It also randomly turned from wood to brick, which was kind of cool. This massive, ancient, mysterious, and indestructible tree was known as the Tree of Life. It usually had 3 chests and 3 landscaping rocks around it. The Tree of Life was also breakable in OG Fortnite, but when the OG map returned for Season OG, the Tree of Life was indestructible. The Umbrella Cave has always been one of my personal favorite little locations in Fortnite. Having a cave the shape of a victory umbrella is such a charming feature. It may seem simple, but a small reference like that really adds so much more charm to the game. Umbrella Cave was also my first ever consistent drop spot, and I have great memories discovering how deep the cave really went for the first time. Umbrella Cave is also where I got my first kill. And there you have it, 8 forgotten locations in the OG map. Sometimes it's the little things that stick with us the most, and that should be a good lesson for Epic, that especially regarding the future of Fortnite maps, less is always more. What was that noise? He's right behind me, isn't he?